You hear me?
Things are going great, man. How you doing, my friend?
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
wonderful. I'm wonderful. Okay, we're gonna start. You can just introduce yourself and what you do.
Sure. My name's Lorne, Lorne Bowman Sr. Um, I'm a manager at Xfinity, full time. I train kids for basketball called Shots Up, youth basketball training. Um, in my spare time. Now that my son is about to move on to Madison, Wisconsin, been the last 15 years putting in a ton of work with him. So now it's time for me to kind of give back, what I've learned over the last decade and a half to other aspiring kids that would like to get better and hopefully, get them a scholarship or wherever their aspirations take them. So that's pretty much what I do. I learned a lot along the way. I learned a lot as it relates to the game, what it takes to be successful, also how to turn around and instill the values in your kids, what's important, how to guide them through the different hills and peaks and valleys that they will experience over their time as they move along their path. I always told my son, there's no smooth side. There's no smooth side to the top of the mountain. You try to climb a smooth side to the top of the mountain, you're gonna slip down every time. The top of the mountain requires getting your hands cut, bruised, your knees and shins scraped up, your feet cut, battle scars, things of that nature. But to keep that footing, the side of the mountain that mountain has to be rugged to get to the top. So pretty much that's what I do. And again, I learned a lot as it relates to recruiting, which I appreciate you having me on your show to talk about those things and how very important it is if you have a child that or a son or daughter that's looking to be recruited and you identify them as having that skill set to get to the next level. There's some things that I definitely can help you out with as it relates to that.
Okay. Let us know. Start out with give us just a little bit of information on if you're a parent, what could you do to prepare your child for the recruit? If he's quote unquote good enough for the recruiting part of the game.
Sure.
Just a preparation.
Sure. Well, first you have to be honest with yourself and your child. Okay. Along the way, I've seen so many parents. Everybody wants their child to be LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and regardless of if they have the skill set or not, a parent will push them and push them and push them, push them and push them and push them. First of all, when a child is young, you have to, as a parent, you have to identify if you feel like that child, number one, it's in him or her to play the game. Okay. They have to have a heart for it. They're going to respond better if the heart is pumping with the game in mind versus what you're trying to inject into them. So what I did with my boy, I realized around about he was 2-3 years old that he was going to have a skill set to play the game. At 4 years old, it became very evident. And then at 5 and 6, it was crystal clear. Well, by that time, it's my job as a parent, Charles, to sit back and see what does he want to do with this. You can have all the skill set in the world, but if you don't have a heart for it, if you don't have a work ethic for it, then it's not going to matter. I taught him that you have to have both of those things working in conjunction with each other: skill set and work ethic. You can have all the work ethic in the world. Doesn't matter. You can go out and set the city on fire with how much you can go out and whatnot. Will you get better from it? Yes. But if you don't have the skill set to go along with that, it's just not there. It's a reason why some people can shoot the ball better than others. It's a reason why only 97%, only 3% of kids that play basketball is going to make it to the next level, and that's including D3. So that means 97% of kids are not going to play ball at the next level. As a parent, we have to be honest with ourselves to identify that early. And then from there, if a kid has a heart for the game, all right, and he wants to get out and get it, and he has a skill set for the game, then as a parent, we bring them along. It's our responsibility to research, to put our kids in the best position, to be honest with our kids, and then to just have a feel for how they're coming along the way. So, for example, with my son, I always wanted him, I always kept him playing at the skill set where, because I played the game, so I had kind of a head start into how to bring him along. But because of his skill set, and I knew that he had a ahead of the game, so to speak, when he was young. I wanted to make sure, Charles, that I kept him playing either at the level he was playing, at the level of his skill set, or better. And when I put him on a house team at Joe Dumars Field House when he was like 4 or 5 years old, and he just began to excel. Well, when he got to the point, Charles, before he wasn't getting anything else out of that, in other words, he was just so much better than everybody else, and he wasn't being challenged, then I had a decision to make. Iron sharpens iron, okay? Hot butter don't sharpen iron. That don't sharpen iron. A hot iron butter don't sharpen hot iron. It's just going to cut right through it. There's nothing there. There's no give back. There's nothing coming back to help it, to get stronger. So when I had a decision to make, either A, I'm going to just keep him here so he can dominate everybody. All right. So I can walk out feeling feeling good, like, as a parent, my son is the best. He's the best up here. He's destroying everybody. Or do I put him in an uncomfortable place and let him fend for himself to get better? Well, I chose to pull him out of there and take him on down to a program towards the city. That's kids that was better than him or just as better than him, and let him work it out himself. Why? Because I didn't want him to be comfortable. I've always taught my son, and I have a motto coming up, and I've instilled it in him from a boy. Work on that which is uncomfortable until that which is uncomfortable becomes comfortable. Plain and simple. Work on that which is uncomfortable until that which is uncomfortable becomes comfortable. In other words, take him out of that place. Take him out of a comfortable place. Put him in a place before kids are better than him, bigger than him, stronger than him. All right? And I kept him on that path because I wanted him to grow. And guess what? He rose to the challenge. It was either sink or swim. Son, if you want to play the game, this is what it's going to take. I never sugarcoated anything with him. This is what it's going to take. Okay? And he rose up to the challenge. I'll never forget. I told him, he was always used to starting. I said, son, these kids been playing together as a unit for 3-4 years. They want you on the team. You're probably not going to start. I said, and that's fine. I said, however, if you listen to me, this is what's going to happen. When you get your chance, you go in and you do what you do. Okay? And you let it be known. And I told him, I said, no one's going to give you anything. But in this game, you got to take it. So what does he do? First game off the bench. He came off the bench, put 18 points off the bench. They win the game. He started every game from then on. It'll all work itself out. That's all you have to do. Okay? So hopefully that answers the question. Forgive me for rattling on. I have so much in me that I want to give.
I know.
But hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, that was a good answer, man. Okay, now let us know a little bit about once you was talking before, me and you, once you get to in the recruiting process, and you was talking about how the character, how some of the teams, they look at the character of the recruit, and they go
Absolutely.
from there.
Sure. Absolutely, Charles. So my son went into his recruiting process. They're going to start, well, according to NCAA rules, they can start calling. They can't call a kid as a freshman or sophomore. They can begin to call a kid June 15th going into their junior year. Okay. So that's the day that they can reach out to you based on NCAA rules. Now you can call them, but they can't call you. All right. Now, roundabout, so that would have put me roundabout June 15th, 2018, going into my son's junior year. Before his junior year is when he could start getting calls from schools. But you know what I noticed on Facebook and social media? I began to get a lot of friend requests from coaches, from these major Division I schools. I began to just notice the amount of attention that requests and stuff that he began to get. And I began to just take note of that. Now, let me just put it this way. Why would a coach of these mid-major schools, these high major programs, they're not recruiting me? So why would they be wanting to be friends with me on Facebook? Why would they want to be into my social media, know anything about me? They're not recruiting me, they're recruiting my son, right? And it would be the same case if with anybody's kid. You know why? Because they wanted to know the kind of person I am. Of course, as soon as I accept their friend request, they had already went on my Facebook page and looked around, okay, before they sent me a friend request. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If they had saw something crazy, something stupid, I'm out there acting the fool, I'm posting all kind of garbage and mess, who's that going to reflect on? Okay, I'm out the game 30 years. They looking at my kid. They're not going to, that's going to reflect on my son. Right? So
right.
I always told my son, I said, you keep your circle close. You've had friends from when you were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old coming up through elementary school, middle school. Them are your friends. When you didn't have anything, when you didn't have any attention, when you didn't win MLive Player of the Year, when you wasn't a Mr. Basketball finalist, when you wasn't averaging 25 points a game, all those things, there's nothing wrong with having friends and be cordial to everybody, be loving and kind to everybody. But you know who your friends are. Everybody has an inner circle, right? And then it's the same way, and it's about character building, teaching him character. I told him, don't put anything on. We don't roll like that. We don't put craziness and post craziness on our Facebook page, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, Snapchat, and all the others that social media that you have. You keep your image clean, okay? You stay humble. I was taught as a boy, and I put it in him. When you got the goods, you don't have to say a word. It's going to be a path that's going to be beat to your door.
That's
you don't
right.
have to say nothing. You ain't got to go out and say, oh, I did this to you, I did that to you. You ain't got to put on social media, oh, we killed this kid, or we killed that team. You ain't got to say nothing. You just go do what you do, and you go home. All right? And then your talent will speak for itself. Your character will precede you. Okay? And so for parents, it's very important, they're going to want to know everything about you. They're going to want to know everything about you, your family, your husband, the wife, the mother, the father, the grandparents, the children, the brothers, the sisters, everything. And I'm telling you from experience, when it came down to recruit my son, and when he began to talk to these coaches, and when they began to call him, they were calling him like crazy. But you know what? We found out that they were taking the time to get to know him. They called his high school coach and just asked all types of questions. So at the end of the day, when it came time to it, I sat in one Big Ten coach's office that had offered him, and I was shocked the amount of information that they had already knew First time I'd ever met the guy personally. First time I sat in his office, me and my son. But he knew so much personal information about us. It was almost surreal. He told us. He told me flat out, looked me straight out of my eyes, said, "We know everything about you." They knew his tendencies. They knew what he liked. They knew my son. They knew my daughter. They have people. I mean, that they have the resources. You got to do it. This is why. Because you got to understand, 4 years is a long time. Okay? They understand. They want to know that not only are they getting a good player, but they're getting good character. Not only do they want to know if they're getting a good player, they want to know, are they getting good character? Because bad things follow bad character. Okay? So, simply put, if I bring on your bad character, I'm going to bring on all them tendencies to come along with it. To disrupt my program for 4 years, they're not having it. They are not going to have that. Okay? So, therefore, they will pass on an A-class player with bad character and take a B player with great character and coach him up. Okay, let me say that again. They will pass, I've seen it done, on an A-class player with bad character, and they will take a C+ or a B character, a player with great character, and then coach him up. They will do it every time. All right? Now, so it's important as parents that we early on identify, does my kid have a chance to play at the next level? If that's a yes, you put all of the time into them, you put all of the resources into them, you invest in them, him or her. You the hotel rooms, the training fees, the plane tickets, everything it takes to get him out there or him or her out there so that they can get better, to get to that next level. And then when it happens, along the way, you as a parent as well as the child have to keep a clean image. You just have to. All right, you just have to. Number one, you should want to. Number two, with this game, especially in recruiting, you're going to have to, because they don't have to deal with you. So as a result, you know, I made sure I went through all of my social media. I wanted to make sure, even though I don't post nothing crazy, but I go back and I want to double check to make sure that I'm in line. Okay. Make sure that some of the things that I say isn't controversial or whatever the case. Why? Because I don't ever want to be a hindrance to my son. He's the one that's out there putting in his blood, the sweat, the tears. You know? I mean, if my son got all types of battle scars and had his mouth wires shut, he done had bruised ribs and teeth almost knocked loose and stitches and all types of stuff down through the years. So I done seen him cry tears from losing in the championship game as a boy, and the sweat and the miles and the stairs. I'm talking literal blood, sweat, and tears. And then you mean to tell me that he's going to work that hard to get to a place before he can get him a scholarship for his future? Say basketball off the table. He'll have a full ride scholarship with a degree that, God forbid, if something happens with his basketball game, he can fall back on it and be able to provide for his family. You mean to tell me that I am not going to make sure as a parent that I don't get in the way of that? That's not going to happen. And if you love your child, you're going to make sure that this doesn't happen. So we as parents have to check ourselves too before as we go along this journey, as we go along for the ride on this journey with our children. Make sure that we are in order, making sure that we do everything we're supposed to do. Make sure that we say everything we're supposed to say and be in the right place that we're supposed to be. And this sacrifice is going to have to be made if you're going to help your child to get to the next level. That drive to Iowa was 8 hours up and 8 hours back. It was brutal. But guess what? Something that had to be done. It's just part of the program. Okay? The drive to Purdue, brutal. Something that had to be done, part of the program. Wisconsin 3 times. All right? So the travel, the taking time off work, all of those things, all of it is a part of it. So, but anyway, hopefully that answers the question, Charles.
Yes. Really good. Actually, you covered almost everything within those two, those two questions. Um, I mean, with the sacrifice of being on too long, I got one more question though.
Sure.
It's the ending part. So once the child, um, you know, once they commit, is it anything? Once they commit, is it any like secrets or something that they have to do, or thing protocol that they have to do in order to, just go on with the program once
Sure.
they commit?
Great question. So once a child commits, number one, they have to make sure that they have their grades together. Okay, I definitely want to hit on that just a little bit. Your grades got to be together. That because you get offered, okay, it's a verbal thing. Being admitted into a school is a whole nother horse of another color. Okay, so my son, he got offered, he committed, but guess what? There still were requirements that he had to meet before we got that letter in the mail saying, congratulations, you've been accepted to the University of Wisconsin. That's
Right.
a whole nother something else that has to be done. What does that take? He has to make sure his grades are right. Okay. If you are barely eligible at high school, you can forget going to if you got the skills. I'm gonna tell you what a waste is. A waste is a kid who has a Power 5 high major skill set, but can be barely eligible at the high school level. To me, it's so sad. It's so sad. And those are things that we as parents have to make sure, again, going along for the journey, I say, that if your kid has all of the skill set and all of that to get your college paid for, we got to make sure that we give them all of the tools and resources that they need to make sure that their grades are good. Because if your grades aren't good, you're not going to qualify. Okay, and you're going to wind up being at a JUCO school, okay, and that which is school is here again. If they're going to college, great. But I'm talking to the kids who are not applying themselves, and the parents that are allowing it. Okay, that's who I'm talking to. Okay, because we have a responsibility. That is a waste to me. If you're not applying yourself, and then parents are allowing the kid not to apply themselves, and the priorities aren't right, it ain't gonna work out good. Okay, but we have to instill in them the importance early and drill it in them of grades and applying themselves and making sure all their homework assignments are turned in. Why? Because there's gonna come a time where you're gonna have to take that ACT test. Okay, and if you don't have the grades or the score, you're not going to be able to get admitted. So you can get offered and you can commit. Then you wonder, why didn't that kid go to that school? He committed to it. Well, chances are he couldn't qualify. All right. So, and I want to hit one other point, and I'll be done.
Okay.
Your body language when you're on the court. Okay, when your body language is on the court. If you are talking back to your coach, if you are you whining and pouting because you ain't getting the touches that you want, if you show yourself not to be a team player, guess what? People are watching you when you don't think they're watching you. If your kid is being recruited, okay, and they're looking to give your kid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school, even though they're not in the gym, believe me, they got people watching your kid. They got people watching your kid who reports back to them when they're not in town. How did he do? Well, this is what he did. You will never know. And then a lot of kids wonder why. Why did this school that was recruiting me so good, that was so interested in me, why did they go cold on me? You know why? Because they don't like the fact that you was cussing your coach out, or you flipped your coach out and it got back to them. They didn't like the fact that your body language was horrible because you had to get benched, or you told you flipped off one of your players because he didn't drive and kick maybe like he should have. All of that, I've seen it. I've heard high major coaches go tell me, yeah, we were recruiting this kid. I think we're gonna go cold on this kid because he keeps talking back to the coach. Well, how did you know? Oh, we got people that actually rewrite reports and kick it back up to the programs to keep tabs on the kids. And these kids will lose out on scholarship opportunities and never even know why.
Wow.
So I just wanted to say that too.
That's awesome information, man. That's awesome information.
All true stuff, man.
Absolutely. So can you give us your information, so if someone wants to get a hold to you, they can get a hold to you?
Sure. So my number is area code 248. It's 688-1388. Parents that would like to know a little bit more information, we can definitely set up sessions, things of that nature. If you have a kid that wants training, mentoring, any type of public speaking, anything like that, that will help these kids, help instill values in these kids and where they're going. It's so important. What I don't like to see is, and I'm passionate about this stuff, is when they get down to it and it's too late. It's too late. It's like trying to fix a golf swing. If the habits are bad, it's going to take a long time to correct that, because we let it go on too long.
Yes.
We as parents, we got to get hold of this thing early in the game. But I don't ever want to say it's a lost cause. But if you realize that my son can get a scholarship or he can play at the next level and he really wants to, then we got work to do. Parents, we have work to do. We have to instill, we have to coach, we have to keep what's important out in front of our children so that they can come up and understand why and what it's going to take for them to get to the next level. And the name of my training company is called Shots Up Youth Basketball Training. Again, we do sessions with children. We do sessions with parents. We teach classes, not in addition to the training and all that. So it's, again, 248-688-1388. And I just want to give back. I've learned so much, and I'm so passionate about this, but I know that I can help a lot of people.
Man, this was like a gold mine full of information that you gave the audience today, brother, and I appreciate it. And we're going to stay in touch, and then we might even do this again, because we're trying to get...
Anytime, Charles. I appreciate you, man, for having me on. Anything I can ever do to help your listening audience or anybody that you know, you please reach out to me.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, man. And have a great day. Stay safe, your family.
Thanks, Charles. Be blessed, my friend. Take care.